Okay, welcome back. We are now on lesson 6, parallel and perpendicular lines. Actually, hold on, I'm just going to pause because I need to turn off my microphone for a sec. Okay, so we're going to be talking about parallel and perpendicular lines, okay? Oops, what happened here? Okay. So we're going to plot the points and connect them with a line to create a line segment. State the slope of each line segment. Write down any observations between the line segments and the slopes found. Okay. So my first line, line 1, I'm going to call it L1. And I've got A at -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and -1. So that is point A. And then I have B, which is -1 and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's B. And I'm going to join with a nice straight line. You're going to use a ruler. Okay, now I am going to plot the next pair. So C and D. So C is at 1 and 1. And D is at 5 and -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and -1. And that is D. Okay, so now I am going to join those points. Okay, so now let's state the slope of those lines. Okay, so line AB, so I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over 3, 1, 2, 3. So my slope M is equal to 6 over 3, which gives me a slope of 2. All right, CD, so now I'm going to go down 1, 2, 2, and over 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 2 over 4, -2 over 4. It's a negative slope, which gives me a slope of -1 over 2. Okay. Now, what conclusion can we make? So take a look at this slope and take a look at this slope. What do we notice about them? Well, they are negative reciprocals. Okay, so if we look at our slopes, I have a slope of 2 and a slope of -1 over 2. These are negative reciprocals. Okay, they're negative reciprocals of each other. All right. Now, would we say that these lines are parallel or are they perpendicular? Okay. So if our slopes are negative reciprocals, if I were to take a protractor and measure this angle right here, the angle would be 90 degrees. Therefore, these lines are perpendicular. So all lines that are negative, or slopes that are negative reciprocals of each other, they are perpendicular lines. Okay, let's take a look at, this was L1, L2, line 2. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at EF. So I'm going to pick a color here. Okay. All right, so line EF is at -6, -2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -2. Actually, I think I'm going to erase what I had here originally because I'll need the room. Okay, let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 2. So that is E. Okay, and then F is at -3 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is line F. And I'm going to join my points with a nice straight line. Okay, and then I'm going to do the next one. So that is line G, H. So my line is at 2 and 0, or sorry, +2 and 0. So that's G. And then H is at 5 and 5. And up there, that's H. Okay. All right, so let's calculate the slope. We can just do the counting method. That's totally fine. All right. So for EF, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 3. 1, 2, 3, so 5 over 3 is my slope. And then for GH, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 3. So 5 over 3, the slopes are equal. If the slopes are equal, therefore, the lines are parallel. So the lines are parallel. So conclusion, slopes of parallel lines are always equal. So if slope, so M1 equals M2, then L1, line 1 is parallel to line 2. Okay? If the slopes of the perpendicular lines are negative reciprocals of each other, okay, they are going to be perpendicular. Now, we've got another way of checking that. If we take the slope of M1, so let's go back to that example. I had 2, and I multiply it with the slope -1 over 2. That is going to give me -2 over 2, which gives me -1. So the product of negative reciprocals are always -1, okay? So all we need to know, though, is that if the slopes are equal, they are parallel. If they are negative reciprocals of each other, they are perpendicular, okay? All right. So example 1, complete the following table. Slope of a given line, 2 over 3. The slope of all lines parallel to the given line. So it doesn't matter where on the grid those lines are. If they have the same slope, 2 over 3, then the lines are parallel. If the lines are perpendicular, that means that the slope needs to be -3 over 2. If I have B -4 over 7, the parallel line would have to have the same slope, -4 over 7. The perpendicular line, okay, is going to have to be 7 over 4. It is negative in the first column right here. It's already negative. It will be positive for the perpendicular, okay? If I have a slope of 2, parallel slopes will all be 2. Okay, So, where was I? So slope of all lines parallel. Okay, so if my slope is 2, the parallel line will be 2. If it is perpendicular to the slope of 2, it will need to be -1 over 2. If I have a slope that is -5, all parallel lines will have a slope of -5. The perpendicular line will have a slope of 1 over 5. If my slope is 0, so it's a horizontal line, all lines parallel to it will also have a slope of 0. Now, if my slope is 0, meaning it is horizontal, the line perpendicular to it, okay, the line perpendicular to it will have to have a slope that is undefined. Okay, if my slope is undefined, all parallel lines will have a slope that is undefined. And the perpendicular slope will have to be 0. All right, flip the page. Okay, so we've got draw the line passing through A, -4, 2, that is parallel to the line passing through B, -2 and 1, and C, 5 and 4. So what I need to know is what is the slope of B, -2 and 1, and C, 5 and 4. Okay, so what I'll do is I am going to graph the line BC. What happened? There we go. Okay, so line BC, -2 and 1. That's line B. Point B. C is 5 and 4. So let's see. Okay. Okay, so that is my original line. Now, its slope is 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if it is 3 over 7, and my next line is parallel to 3 over 7, it is now passing through point A, which is -4 and 2. If they're parallel, they have the same slope. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is point A. And then I'm just going to join my points. Okay, so that's how you do that one. Now we're going to draw the line passing through A, 3, -2. That is perpendicular. So perpendicular to the line passing through B, -2, -3, and C, 0 and 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate my slope algebraically for BC. So M, slope of BC, is equal to 3, take away -3, over 0, take away -2. So that's going to give me 6 over 2. And my slope is 3. If my slope is perpendicular, okay, so the perpendicular slope, it's the negative reciprocal, it'll be -1 over 3. Okay, so point A is at 3, -2. And its slope is -1 over 3, so I'm going to go up 1 over 3. Up 1 over 3. And then I'm going to join my points. And my line should look like this. Okay, if the slope of L1, so line 1, is 5 over k, and the slope of L2 is 4 over 3, Determine the value of k if line 1 and line 2 are parallel. Well, if they are parallel, their slopes must be equal. Okay, the slopes have to be equal. So now all we have to do is cross multiply. So 4 times k, so that's 4k. And then 5 times 3, that is 15. K is equal to 15 over 4. If I calculate the decimal for that, just a minute here. Okay, if I calculate the decimal, 15 divided by 4, that is 3.75. So the slope of L1 is going to be 5 over 3.75. It's not a nice number, but that is a slope, okay? Now, if they are perpendicular, that means that they are negative reciprocals of each other. So I'm going to keep it as 5k, or 5 over k, but I'm going to take the 4 over 3 and I'm going to write it as a negative reciprocal, okay? And then I'm going to cross multiply. So I have negative 3k is equal to 4 times 5. I was about to write 20. Actually, I'll just write 20. K is equal to 20 over negative 3. Now, this isn't a really nice number at all, but k is going to equal negative 6.7. Okay. I rounded it, or we could just write it like this. I think maybe I'll leave it like that because it's a repeating decimal. Okay, so the slope is going to be 5 over 6.66 repeating. Okay, that's going to be our slope. All right. Now, determine the value of y if I have point A and point B, and I have point C and D. These are line segments, okay? So if they are negative reciprocals of each other, I need to first find the slope. Find the slope of AB. That's the first thing that we need to do. So I'm going to do that. So M equals negative 4 take away 2. 2 take away 5. It's going to give me negative 6 over negative 3, which gives me a slope of positive 2. That means that line CD has slope negative 1 over 2, because it tells us here that AB is perpendicular to CD. So since I know that, I can find my missing value, y. So I'm going to go negative 1 over 2 is equal to y take away negative 4 over 8 take away 2. So now I'm going to simplify. And I'm going to cross multiply. So I'm going to do that up here. So, oops. So that's going to give me, I'm going to go 6 times negative 1, so that's negative 6. 2 times y plus 4. Negative 6 equals 2y plus 8. Negative 6 take away 8 equals 2y. Negative 14 is equal to 2y. Negative 7 is equal to y. So that missing coordinate C is 8 and negative 7. Okay, write the equation of each line. Okay, so we've got the line parallel to y equals 1 over 3x plus 6, and with the same y-intercept as y equals 6x minus 5. So I know two things. My new line has the same slope as this line. So I'm going to say slope of 1 over 3. And it has a y-intercept of this line, which is negative 5. So the equation is going to be y equals 1 over 3x minus 5. Okay, so you're always looking for the clues that it gives you in the question. So you have to know how many lines are you actually dealing with. Well, I have a line. It's parallel to this one. So I'm going to call this L1, L1. This is L2. This is L3. Okay, so you just have to know how many lines you're dealing with. All right, so the line is passing through 0, 5, and it's perpendicular to the line y equals 2x plus 9. So it's passing through this point. What do we see about this point? Well, if my x value is 0, then this is my y-intercept. So y-intercept is 0, 5. Okay. Now, it tells me that it's perpendicular to this line. So if I look at the slope is 2. So the slope for this line, m, is going to have to be negative 1 over 2. So you have to read very carefully, okay? Look for the clues. So the equation is going to be y equals negative 1 over 2x plus 5. The line is passing through the origin, so the origin is at 0, 0. Therefore, the y-intercept is 0. And it's perpendicular to the line x equals negative 2. Well, x equals negative 2 is a vertical line. Okay, vertical line with an undefined slope. So the only possible equation that we could have is y equals 0. A line that is parallel to the y-axis. Okay, if it's parallel to the y-axis, so let's look at our coordinates. This is my x-axis, this is my y-axis. The y-axis is vertical, okay? Okay, the y-axis is vertical, therefore the slope will be undefined. And if it's passing through the point 2, negative 5, so it's passing through somewhere down here, and it's a vertical line, it's going to look something like this. So its equation is simply going to be x is equal to 2. So now you guys are going to work on the check your understanding of lesson 6.